Okay, so this week we are going to continue with looking at the Old Kingdom, and the object really is a bunch of objects, but the one thing I want to concentrate on this week is the tomb of Queen Hetepheres, and she is a queen from the Old Kingdom. Now, I've shown you this slide before. Let me get my little writer here. So this is the Great Pyramid, and then these are the three pyramids we looked at really briefly with their temples and their valley temples and so on. What I want to concentrate on is Queen Hetepheres' tomb. She is the mother of Khufu, so she is the mother of the builder of the Great Pyramid. She had a number of different titles, including God's daughter. Now, what's really interesting about this is how her tomb was actually found. So I've got a big red arrow here. So what was happening, I think it was in the 1920s, when a cameraman was backing up and his foot hit something. And so they started digging around and realized that they uncovered this. Now, what you're looking at here are the stones that were put over the tomb entrance. And this next slide shows what happened, what it looked like when they took these stones away. And what you end up getting is a large chamber, tube. And this is what it looks like when you look down. So you're looking down into the chamber. And of course, these are modern materials to help people get down into the chamber itself. And then this is what it looked like when they finally got to the bottom of this. This isn't the best photo, but this one is. So here you've got a drawing of the tomb contents. And so what you see here is like a chair. Back here you can see a whole bunch of jars that were filled with materials that we've looked at before in class. And what you've got here on the right side are some jewelry that belonged to the queen. And this is the image that I put on the very front slide. So these are pretty amazing examples of jewelry from the Old Kingdom. And you know, we talked a little bit about mining last week. So think about all the effort that it took to get these precious gems out of the earth, polished, and then put into jewelry. What you're looking at here is some of the material from her tomb. Now, I just showed you that picture which shows like chairs and beds. Now, when they found the tomb, all of the wood material had decayed, so there was nothing left of that. But what they ended up doing is making these legs out of different types of metal, mostly gold. And so what was left were the legs standing there, but the wood had totally decayed. And from that, they were able to recreate a lot of her materials. So what you've got here is a little enclosure that she probably slept in. Here is her bed that's been recreated, and then here you see these feet, and then this is a headrest. So anyway, this is all recreated based on the materials that were left that of course didn't decay. And this is one of her chairs. Here again, you can see these metal feet. And then here's an example of some gold bowls that were put in her tomb. Now, I don't want to spend too much more time looking at this, but the most important thing to remember about all this is this was essentially put in this tomb to be covered up. Now, the idea is, of course, is that she's the queen and she will wake up in the afterlife still being a queen and then have all this material with her. But again, we've been talking about this constantly in this class, about all these grave goods that are put in these tombs that are essentially material taken out of the economy. But it does tell you how strong the economy is. So you've got all this wooden material, you've got all this gold, all these precious jewels. These are coming from all over Egypt and outside, and then they end up in a tomb. So what can this tomb tell us about sustainability? Well, based on all the material that was found in here, you still have an organized economy. Now remember that all of this is based on agriculture. So growing all the grain and so on, and of course you have to feed the people who are digging out the tomb, building the pyramids, and so on. And of course, looking at the gold and the precious jewels, you're also talking about trade. And of course, she is the queen and she's being buried with all of this material. Although it isn't clear, this probably wasn't her burial tomb. But this was based on an organized religion all centered around the pharaoh. And this is something that the Egyptian state was in control of. And then it harnessed all of this material to help with what they were building. And so this is how this all relates to sustainability.